Hey, yo, what's good, kinfolk? Peace, love, and light to you all. Check this out. In this video, I have a presentation that I want to share with you. I don't know if you all remember the video I did recently, carnal interpretation versus the spiritual interpretation. But in that video, I mentioned that I was going to do a series of videos where, I touch on the things people claim is evil, demonic, satanic, witchcraft, and all that, right? So in these videos, what I'm going to do is attempt to bring forth the true understanding of these things. I mean, because we all know everything in this world. I'm talking about everything out of nature, our bodies, everything has been demonized. Everything has been distorted. Everything has been flipped, turned upside down, and perverted, right? So Pete gang, Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20 tells us, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. This verse right here is telling you, don't be so quick to accept something as evil because it might be good. So with that being said, I feel like because we are the children of the Most High, we are the children of the earth, we are the children of light, it is our jobs, our duties to restore the truth. Point blank, period. And another reason why I'm doing these videos is to expose the level of ignorance that our people deal with, to show and prove how uneducated our elders, our teachers, our pastors really are, And I'm not throwing shade. I'm not trying to belittle nobody. I'm not saying that your pastors or your elders are not intelligent. They are intelligent people. You are intelligent. But we have been manipulated for so long. We have been programmed and conditioned to feel, think, view things in a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? And let me put this out there before we move on to the actual presentation. I'm going to say this loud and I'm going to say this clear. I am not out here telling people, hey guys, I found another way to the Most High. I'm not out here telling people, hey, I got some deep knowledge on the chakras. I think we all should be practicing them. You can't even practice chakras. You can't practice kundalini. You can't practice this stuff, bruh. And I'm going to show you that in these videos. So don't fret, you dig? But anyways, enough with all the talking, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, this is going to be a 7-part series, all dealing with the chakras, okay? The energy centers within the body, all right? I'm going to show you that it's not evil. It's not witchcraft. I'm going to show you how the chakras are connected to your endocrine system, your 7 major glands, your 6 nerve plexuses. I'm also going to show you how your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your diet, all that affects the energy within your body. You understand? The energy that goes up and down through these cells or these meridian pathways, whatever you want to call them. Okay. Now, the 2 clips that I want to start this video off with is going to be from Avatar, The Last Airbender, which is one of the best cartoons ever made. Now, when I was a teenager, I didn't catch any of the gems that were being thrown in that show. But a month ago, I sat and I watched all 3 seasons. And when I tell you that show has so much wisdom in it, like legit, y'all gonna have to check it out. But anywho, in this particular episode, Aang goes to visit Guru Petit up in the mountains. And in order for him to control the avatar state, he must unblock all of his chakras. You understand? Now, keep in mind, this is a children's TV show. So, of course, the chakras and its concepts have been simplified. But if you listen closely to what Petit is teaching him, everything that he's saying is fairly accurate and has nothing to do with witchcraft. Now, when you watch this clip, you're going to see that the whole time they are meditating. This is why I try to explain to y'all the importance of meditating, the science behind it. You know what I'm saying? That electric energy that comes from meditating, what it does, it purges the thoughts that come from the carnal mind, the carnal desires, the likes, the dislikes, the fears, the anxiety, the stress, the anger. It purges that stuff away. You understand what I'm saying? That is the 10% of you that you need to tithe to the Most High. Give it up. You know what I'm saying? The ego, give it up. Meditation is so powerful. But see, in today's time, we look at meditation like it's just some practice. But the ancients, They saw it as a way of life. You know what I'm saying? They knew and understood the power behind meditation. But anywho, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it.
In your note, you said you could teach me to gain control of the avatar state. How?
You must gain balance within yourself before you can bring balance to the world.
See what I'm saying? That's wisdom right there, straight out the gate. And see, our teachers and our elders need to be teaching us like this. I remember saying this to myself years ago, that I wish I had monks as my teachers, like straight up.
And the first step to gaining balance begins with this. Drink up.
Ugh! It tastes like onion and banana juice.
That's because it is. Yum, yum. In order to master the avatar state, you must open all the chakras. And tell me everything you know about chakras.
What are chakras?
Oh, I see. I guess we'll start with the basics. The water flows through this creek much like the energy flows through your body. As you see, there are several pools where the water swirls around before flowing on. These pools are like our chakras.
So chakras are pools of spiraling energy in our bodies?
Exactly. If nothing else were around, this creek would flow pure and clear. However, life is messy and things tend to fall in the creek. And then what happens?
The creek can't flow?
Yes, but if we open the paths between the pools,
The energy flows.
there are 7 chakras that go up the body. Each pool of energy has a purpose and can be blocked by a specific kind of emotional muck. Be warned, opening the chakras is an intense experience, and once you begin this process, you cannot stop until all 7 are open. Are you ready?
I'll do whatever it takes.
First, we will open the Earth Chakra, located at the base of the spine. It deals with survival and is blocked by fear. What are you most afraid of? Let your fears become clear to you. And your vision is not real. You are concerned for your survival, but you must surrender those fears. Let your fears flow down the creek. You have opened your Earth Chakra. Next is the
Water chakra?
brilliant. Maybe one day you will be a guru too. This chakra deals with pleasure and is blocked by guilt. Now, look at all the guilt which burdens you so. What do you blame yourself for?
I ran away. I hurt all of those people.
Accept the reality that these things happened, but do not let them cloud and poison your energy. If you are to be a positive influence on the world, you need to forgive yourself. Third is the fire chakra, located in the stomach.
My fire chakra would like to eat something other than onion banana juice.
Good one. Moving on.
Now, in this scene right here, the guru did something that I think went over a lot of people's head. When aint tells the guru, hey, my fire chakra says it would like to have something other than onion and banana juice, instead of becoming impatient or urging aint to focus, he takes the time, laugh, acknowledging the joke, then says, moving on. See, this is a principle of meditation. Like watching a river flow, when you see a leaf or a twig, see it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. Much like your thoughts, when you try to clear your mind, thoughts will appear. See them and let them pass like a cloud. This is what the guru does. He appreciates the laughter and lets it go.
This chakra deals with willpower and is blocked by shame. What are you ashamed of? What are your biggest disappointments in yourself?
I'm never gonna firebend again. I can't.
You will never find balance if you deny this part of your life. You are the avatar, and therefore, you are a firebender. That chakra opened less like a flowing creek and more like a burping bison.
Tastes like onions and bananas, but strangely something else. Pickles?
The fourth chakra is located in the heart. It deals with love and is blocked by grief. Lay all your grief out in front of you. You have indeed felt a great loss. But love is a form of energy, and it swirls all around us. The air nomad's love for you has not left this world. It is still inside of your heart and is reborn in the form of new love. Let the pain flow away. Very good.
Can I have some onion banana juice, please?
The fifth in the chain is the sound chakra, located in the throat. It deals with truth and is blocked by lies, the ones we tell ourselves.
Why didn't you tell us you were the avatar?
'Cause I never wanted to be.
You cannot lie about your own nature. You must accept that you are the avatar. Very good, Aang. You have opened the chakra of truth. The sixth pool of energy is the light chakra, located in the center of the forehead. It deals with insight and is blocked by illusion. The greatest illusion of this world is the illusion of separation. Things you think are separate and different are actually one and the same.
Like the four nations.
Yes, we are all one people, but we live as if divided.
We're all connected. Everything is connected.
That's right. Even the separation of the four elements is an illusion. If you open your mind, you will see that all the elements are one, four parts of the same whole. Even metal is just a part of earth that has been purified and refined.
This is the last chakra, isn't it?
Yes. Once you open this chakra, you will be able to go in and out of the avatar state at will. And when you are in the avatar state, you will have complete control and awareness of all your actions.
Let's do this.
The thought chakra is located at the crown of the head. It deals with pure cosmic energy and is blocked by earthly attachment. Meditate on what attaches you to this world. Let all of those attachments go. Let them flow down the river, forgotten.
What? Why would I let go of Katara? I love her.
Learn to let her go, or you cannot let the pure cosmic energy flow in from the universe.
Why would I choose cosmic energy over Katara? How could it be a bad thing that I feel an attachment to her? 3 chakras ago, that was a good thing.
You must learn to let go.
I'm sorry, but I can't let go of Katara.
And to master the avatar state, you must open all the chakras. Surrender yourself.
Okay, I'll try.
Now think of your attachments and let them go. Let the pure cosmic energy flow.
The sanctuary of our teacher, the Ancient One.
The Ancient One? What's his real name? Right. Forget everything I think I know. Sorry. Thank you for... Whoa. Okay, that's a thing. Thank you. Hello. Oh, thank you. And thank you. Thank you, Ancient One, for seeing me.
You're very welcome.
The Ancient One.
Thank you, Master Mordo. Thank you, Master Hamir. Mr. Strange?
Doctor, actually.
Well, no, not anymore, surely. Isn't that why you're here? You've undergone many procedures. 7, right?
Yeah. It's good tea.
Yes.
Did you heal a man named Pangborn, a paralyzed man?
In a way,
You helped him to walk again.
yes.
How did you correct a complete C7, C8 spinal cord injury?
Well, I didn't correct it. He couldn't walk. I convinced him that he could.
You're not suggesting it was psychosomatic.
When you reattach a severed nerve, is it you who heals it back together or the body?
It's the cells.
And the cells are only programmed to put themselves back together in very specific ways.
Right.
What if I told you that your own body could be convinced to put itself back together in all sorts of ways?
You're talking about cellular regeneration. That's leading edge medical tech. Is that why you're working here without a governing medical board? I mean, just how experimental is your treatment?
Quite.
So you figured out a way to reprogram nerve cells to self-heal?
No, Mr. Strange. I know how to reorient the spirit to better heal the body.
You see what they're talking about, right? Has nothing to do with witchcraft, but has everything to do with your health, physical health, spiritual health, mental health. You understand what I'm saying? Just block out all the religious dogma and doctrines for 1 second and just pay real close attention to what's being said.
The spirit to heal the body. All right, how do we do that? Where do we start?
Don't like that map?
Oh, no, it's really good. It's just, I've seen it before in gift shops.
What about this one?
Acupuncture, great.
Yeah? What about that one?
You're showing me an MRI scan. I do not believe this.
Each of those maps was drawn up by someone who could see in part, but not the whole.
I spent my last dollar getting here. One-way ticket, and you're talking to me about healing through belief.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole, and you've spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility.
No, I reject it because I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras, or energy, or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit. We are made of matter and nothing more. You're just another tiny, momentary speck within an indifferent universe.
You think too little of yourself.
Oh, you think you see through me, do you? Well, you don't. But I see through you!
Now, inside the Bible, there are many references to the chakra system. And the problem we have is that the uneducated Christian pastors, preachers, Hebrew elders, teachers have completely obliterated the concept. Why? Because of fear and lack of knowledge. So as a result of that, all those in the Christian faith, the Hebrew faith, or any other faith have been walking around their whole life stuck in oblivion, not having the knowledge and understanding on how their body works, you know what I'm saying, their mind and how it works, so on and so forth. Now, it doesn't matter if you are a Christian or Hebrew or Muslim, atheist or whatever. It doesn't matter if you don't know anything about chakras. Guess what? You are still using them. It doesn't matter if you are completely opposed to the concept of chakras. Guess what, my friend? You are still using them. And see, that is the irony of it. It's the rejection of something that dwells within you, something that's a part of your genetic makeup. And I ask this question all the time. What makes chakras witchcraft? Like, why do you all say that? Why? You know what I'm saying? What makes it evil? What makes it demonic? Huh? Now, can we physically see these energy centers? No. Same way you can't see your feelings, the love that you have for your significant other or your family and friends, your thoughts, your emotions, so on and so forth. But guess what? We know that they are there and present within the body, right? Since we're talking about chakras, I'm going to show you how they are connected to the endocrine system. Now, one of the main reasons why people say chakras is witchcraft or demonic or satanic or whatever is because of its relationship or connection with what many know as the Kundalini, Kuna buffer, or the serpent, right? I don't care where you look. I don't care how far back you go. But when you look at all these cultures, the serpent was always present. The serpent was always used as a symbol. And you have to ask the question, why? What does the serpent symbolize? Don't worry, you're going to find out. But pay attention. Thousands of years ago, in every culture, in order for them to, fully explain or break down what goes on in the universe, what goes on in the world, in nature, what goes on in the human body, what they did was they created allegories using the names of real people, places, and different things, you know what I'm saying? They drew illustrations using animals and other things to represent different things inside of the body. Like I told you all before, everything in this universe, in this world, in our bodies have been personified. Okay, if you don't know what that means, go look it up, right? So in other words, somebody somewhere a long time ago decided to draw a very loose conclusion between the idea of Kundalini being the rising serpent of the spine of the human being, which is not a serpent at all. The serpent just symbolizes the electromagnetic energy of your body, the creative force of human life, which is ultimately based at the bottom of your spine in the sexual regions, because that's where all creativity dwells at. You dig? So it's the using of this energy in a positive or righteous way and allowing that energy to go up the spine where it can enter into the brain and meet the pineal gland, right? The same place where Jacob called that place pineal or pineal, right? The same place where he said he saw God face to face. But we know he didn't see God with his literal eyes, his physical eyes. He saw God with his single eye, his mind's eye. The same eye Yahshua referred to in Matthew chapter 6, verse 22, right? Your spiritual eye. This is inside of all of us. So for y'all to say that it's evil or it's demonic or satanic, bro, come on, chill. But unfortunately, at some point, all your pastors, your teachers, your elders, they saw these images. They saw these symbols that these other cultures were using, these other religions were using. And they said, you know what? That's a snake. That's bad. I associate the snake with something evil. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to think about it. Most people who are in religion, they look at the snake in a negative way. Why? Because of what happened in the garden with the snake deceiving Eve. But your elders, your preachers, your teachers, they didn't bother to take a closer look at the story of Moses and ask the question, if this snake or the serpent was so evil and demonic, so bad, why did the Most High tell Moses to raise a brazen serpent? That everyone that is bitten by this snake, when he looketh upon it, shall live. So you mean to tell me that the Most High is out here using snakes to heal people? Come on now. This is where y'all have to think. Think. This is an allegory. And there's a deep, deep spiritual message hidden within the words. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're talking about serpents. And serpents either killing people or healing people. This exact scenario right here, in the Hindu culture, they call it Kundalini, Kuna buffer. Kundalini would represent the positive energy in your body. Kuna buffer would be the negative energy in your body. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to touch on that a little bit more in the next series. All right. And I'm gonna go back to this story of Moses because there's a lot with this. You understand? You got the staff, which is a symbol of the spine, right? The Sushumna. Then you have the Ida and the Pingala, where the energy flows through. You know what I'm saying? It's connected with the pineal and the pituitary, the positive and the negative. Yeah. See, the hospitals know. You understand? Everybody knows. Except you. Because you decided to take that literal when you were supposed to, just accept the fact that it's an allegory and that there's a deep mystical or spiritual meaning or message behind the words. And I'm going to say this, due to your pastors, your preachers, your elders, your teachers being uneducated, they do a great disservice to the planet by claiming that these things are evil. But to add to that, people in general, what they tend to do is either look at or into these different secret societies, such as Freemasonry, right? Illuminati, right? They look at these symbols they use, the third eye. They look at all these different symbols. They look at the imagery and say, because they're using it, it gotta be evil. You understand what I'm saying? But like I mentioned earlier, we disregard the fact that God put a pineal gland in all of our heads. Now understand something. The Most High made you perfect. When he formed you, right? Formed your body, your flesh, and everything in it. He saw it and it was good. Now, you have these people who are in power, who are in control, who have programmed you to believe that something inside of you is evil. And for you to never ask any questions about it. Never educating yourself on it. Why is it there? What's its purpose? And I'm not talking about, it secreting melatonin, serotonin, DMT. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about its spiritual capabilities. They don't want you to know about the power that resides in your body. I'm trying to tell you now. But anyways, we're going to move on to the number 7 and why we see it so much. Okay, so now we're going to go into the number 7. Why do we always see this number? And what does this number symbolize? Now, what we know about the number 7 is that it corresponds with the Hebrew term Sheba or Sabah, meaning full and or abundant. 7 is the number of completion or perfection. And look, I know how a lot of you all feel about numerology. I know you think it's evil or satanic or whatever, but me personally, I don't see how a number could be good or evil. You understand? Now, I can see people using numbers to represent things, like, for an example, the number 4. It represents the fourfold nature of man: physical, spiritual, intellectual, emotional. But as far as, when people get to talking about angel numbers and demon numbers, and I just be like, oh, okay. Anyways, the number 7 is used as a code throughout the Bible and in other cultures to talk about the chakras or intervention. So every time you see the number 7, you have to stop because a message is being given to you in code. Now, what I'm going to do is give you some examples of the number 7 being used to symbolize completion, intervention, and show that it refers to the 7 chakras. All right, so let's get it. All right, family. So we're going to go over the many examples of the number 7. I'm sure some of you will find this interesting, but the number 7 is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it. You have the 7 wonders of the world. You have the 7 days of the week with the names of the 7 visible celestial bodies, planets above our heads. The Most High created everything in 7 days, and we know one day to the Most High is 1,000 years, so 7,000 years. We have the Sanskrit's most ancient holy book, the Rig Veda, and they say these are actually the oldest records in the world. But anyways, it describes 7 stars, 7 concentric continents, and 7 streams of Sama, the drink of the gods. The Egyptians mapped 7 paths to heaven. Now, if you know anything about Noah's Ark and the Great Flood, you know that Noah entered the Ark in the 2nd month and came to rest on the mountain on the 17th day of the 7th month. All right. And then when the flood ended and all that, he sent the dove out. He actually waited 7 days to send a dove out. So yeah, moving on. Also in the Bible, you have the dreams of Pharaoh in Genesis 41:1-7, repeated in Genesis 41:17 through 24. It's full of 7s. 7 well-fed fish who are eaten by 7 malnourished ones. 7 good ears of corn eaten by 7 poor ones. Joseph also interprets all this as being 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. 41 verses 25-27. This is another Hindu scripture. It says, in 7 days, all creatures who have offended me shall be destroyed by a deluge. Sounds similar, doesn't it? But thou shalt be secure in a vessel miraculously formed. Take therefore, and with 7 holy men, your respective wives, and pairs of all animals, enter the ark without fear. Then shalt thou know the Most High face to face, and all your questions shall be answered. 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 10. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, and you shall be clean. Daniel chapter 4 verse 32-34 says, You will be forced to live with the wild animals, away from people. For 7 years you will eat grass, as though you were an ox, until you learn that the Most High power is in control of all earthly kingdoms, and that he is the one who chooses their rulers. This was no longer said than done. I was forced to live like a wild animal. I ate grass and was unprotected from the dew. As time went by, my hair grew longer than eagle feathers, and my fingernails looked like the claws of a bird. Finally, I prayed to the Most High power in heaven, and my mind was healed after being in the wilderness for 7 years. Think about it, right? And it says, then I said, I praise and honor the Most High God. The Most High lives forever, and his kingdom will never end. This is where it starts to get really interesting. Revelation chapter 1 verse 20, the mystery, gonna go back to that, of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Now, let's go to this word mystery. And we touched on this word in the last video, carnal interpretation versus the spiritual interpretation, right? So we understood what that word meant. Now we're going to do it again. Mystery, G3466. You get religious truth, divine revelation, hidden spiritual significance. And this is the one that, you know, I like to focus in on, because I tell y'all all the time, you know, the scriptures are, they have, you know, layers of interpretations. All right. And there's multiple meanings. It just depends on where you are, you know, what level you on or whatever. But anyways, we're talking about the number 7 and the hidden spiritual significance behind it, right? Mystical truth, secret, hidden meaning, secret rite or doctrine known and practiced by certain initiated persons only. A hidden or a secret thing. And like I said, the word synonymous with secret would be occult. You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to study etymology. All right, so Revelation chapter 5 verse 1. It says, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. Now, your right hand would symbolize the right hemisphere of the brain. The book would represent your body. You know what I'm saying? Your body is a book. You are a living book, the living word. And written within you, right, the body, on the backside, the spine, you find 7 seals, 7 chakras, 7 energy centers. Revelation chapter 4 verse 5. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High. Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. This is another interesting one. Revelation chapter 16 verses 1 through 8. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, okay, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon, number 1, being the earth, the root. You understand? All right, now skipping down to verse 3. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. All right, so in the 5 element theory, you have earth, right, being the root, water being the sacral, right? Then you got fire, solar plexus, so on and so forth. Same thing you see here, skipping down to verse 8. And the 4th angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And that would be in your solar plexus, like I said. So, you know, just a little bit here. I could add more and all that, but you got earth, you got water, then you got fire, right? These are the elements. Now, let's go on to Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16. These 6 things doeth the Most High hate. Yeah, 7 are an abomination unto him. Matthew chapter 12 verse 43 through 45. It says, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. Luke chapter 8 verse 2. And a certain woman, which had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities. Make sure you check out the last video I did, because I went over that. Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils. 7 priests with 7 trumpets marched around Jericho. How many times? 7 times in Joshua 6, right? With much repetition, and this causes its walls to fall down. Genesis chapter 33 verse 3. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. This is talking about Jacob and Esau, right? Why is Jacob bowing 7 times? Like, what were y'all on? All right. Now, Numbers chapter 23 verse 1. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. Mark chapter 8 verse 20 and 21. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took you up? And they said, 7. And he said unto them, how is it that you do not understand? Right? Now let's get into a couple cartoons where you see this number 7. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Interesting. Then you have Dragon Ball Z with Shenron and the 7 Dragon Balls, right? I'm telling you, this is the chakras. This is representing what they call Kundalini, because remember the serpent, right? The serpent and the 7 vials or you know, wheels or whatever, right? This is the serpent going up the chakras. This is the energy, that positive energy that's going up the chakras or whatever. So yeah, there you have it, the number 7. Now let's move on. All right, real quick, I'm going to go into the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary and read the definition that they have for the number 7. On page 585, you see the word 7. So it says, the number representing fullness in the world of phenomena. 7 always refers to the divine law of perfection for the divine natural man. Adam was a divinely natural man, and had he conformed to the divine law, he would not have died. He would have just naturally slipped over into the spiritual man. Elisha told Naaman to bathe in the Jordan 7 times. 7 is so universally used as a mystical number that its basis must be in some fundamental arrangement of the natural world. The golden candlestick that was made expressly for use in the tabernacle in the wilderness had 7 lamps. See Exodus 25:31-39. This candlestick of gold with its lamps was also used later in the temple that Solomon built at Jerusalem. It is mentioned in 1 Chronicles chapter 13 verse 11. And we know that the tabernacle and temple represented the body of man, and the 7 lamps were symbols of centers in the organism through which intelligence is expressed. All right, so everybody knows of 5 of these avenues: seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling. There are 2 in addition to these: intuition and telepathy. The solar plexus is the organ of intuition, while the brain is the organ of telepathy. All right. These lights have been dimmed by 7 sins. These sins have also been given a 7-fold classification: pride, anger, lust, covetousness, envy, gluttony, sloth, so on and so forth. To bring this to pass, man must deny in 7-fold measure the darkness of error that obscures the inner light and life. The meaning of the sending out of the 70 by Yasha, Luke 10:1, is that the 7 avenues of expression in man, the 7 senses or the 7 centers in the organism, are to be trained in spiritual ways, and their efficiency is to be multiplied 10-fold, right? So 70 times 7 implies unlimited forgiveness. And that is it for the definition of 7 out of the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Okay, the chakras and nerve fluid. We're going to start off in Romans chapter 12, and we're going to read verses 6 through 8. Instead of the KJV, I'm going to read the MSG version. All right. It says, the Holy Spirit manifests in humankind through these graces, reflecting the 7 spirits of the Most High. The 7 graces are: number 1, insight, prophecy; number 2, helpfulness, service or ministry; number 3, instruction, teaching; number 4, encouragement; number 5, generosity, giving; number 6, guidance, leadership; and number 7, compassion. There are 7 prominent energy centers or chakras in the human body. The number 7 appears many times in the Bible, like I told you before, and of course, the many other sacred texts that predate the Bible, reminding us of the power of these divine energy centers. The chakras are centers of activity which receive, assimilate, and transmit divine energy. Each chakra acts as a gateway, reflecting an aspect or influence of consciousness into our lives. Chakras control the flow and distribution of prana, or what they call chi, or divine energy, through the spiritual routes of the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna nadis, which I'm going to break down later on in the video. But anywho, with their relationship with the corresponding physical glands. Physically speaking, this energy is mirrored by the material element of nerve fluid circulating in the 6 major nerve plexuses of the body. It can also be seen biblically in the 6 water pots of stone, John chapter 2, verse 6 and 7, which are filled with water or nerve fluid. The reason for there being 7 chakras but only 6 nerve plexuses or water pots is due to the fact that the 6 and 7 chakras are governed by the same nerve plexus, that being the choroid plexus. Every thought sets the nerve fluid into action. As a quick flowing, universally generated fluid that the Most High propels throughout our bodies, the nerve fluid can be likened to Hiddekel or Tigris, one of the 4 rivers that flow out of the Garden of Eden, Genesis chapter 2, verse 14. It is the electromagnetic center of every physical atom which enlivens our bodies with the power of divine energy. The scientific name for nerve fluid is endoneural fluid, and it acts in a similar way to cerebrospinal fluid by forming a blood-nerve barrier. It is the most confined, pressurized, and volatile fluid in the body. Many mental and spiritual actions occur because of the flares that take place when the nerve fluid reaches the ends of the nerves. The 6 water pots represent the potential to purify our 6 nerve plexuses. If this is accomplished, the realization and the use of vibratory power in the voice can become so potent that a water pot full of water can indeed be transmuted into wine. The 7 energy centers, 6 nerve plexuses, seals, or chakras are affected not only by our thoughts, actions, diets, and emotions, but also by the rotations and energies of the 7 classic planets, which I'm going to touch on too. For example, the magnetism of the root chakra is reflected in the qualities of Saturn, also known as the Black Sun, and Satan. Both the ancient understandings of the chakras and the biblical references illustrate the importance of keeping each of the 7 energy centers clear to promote divine physical, mental, and spiritual health. Here is an overview of each chakra, its corresponding nerve plexus, and other interesting associations. All right, chakra number 1. Let's get into it. The coccygeal root plexus. Understand that this is only an overview. I'm just scratching the surface. I'm not getting too deep into it. All right. So the first chakra is known as the root chakra or the earth chakra. It's concerned with survival. It's blocked by fear. The location of this chakra is in the base of the spine, near the coccyx bone. Its nerve plexus is the coccygeal plexus, which is a bundle of nerves situated near the coccyx bone. Its element is earth, which is the lowest, you know what I'm saying, out of all the elements. Its planet is Saturn, ruler of the bones and teeth, ligaments, and the mineral salts of the body. Saturn is also known as the planet of lack and deficiency. Now, this chakra, when blocked or out of balance, is associated with Satan. The color that this chakra is associated with is red. Now, just like with numbers and how people use numbers to represent things or symbolize things, they do the same things with color. So I'm going to go into this book that I have and kind of touches a little bit on the color red. So it says here in this book, red is the color of blood and the key of the liver, and its effect upon animals is very noticeable. It irritates at sights and in some cases actually causes animals to go mad. Therefore, it is often used in making the capes worn during bullfights. These, the fighters flaunt in the bull's face, and trouble usually follows. The use of red lights is not uncommon in black magic. Evil magicians use them to materialize specters, while medical science has already discovered that red light is a strong irritant when applied to the human body. During anger and hate, the astral aura of man becomes streaked with red flames, very closely resembling thunderbolts. Very often, the base of the spine glows with a murky red light, symbolic of hate, passion, or anger. This red glow, burning eternally at the base of the spine, has given rise to the story of hellfire and damnation. But the preacher has failed to remind the lady, their followers, that they carry their own hell around with them wherever they go. All right. So that's out of the little book that I have. The plane that this chakra is associated with is the physical plane, which again is the lowest. Okay. When blocked, it increases laziness, lethargy, loneliness, skepticism, anger, and so much more. Right? When flowing, it restores security, health, vitality. And this, my brothers and sisters, is an overview of the first chakra. Now, like I mentioned before, we have 7 major endocrine glands that secrete hormones that interact with our organs and cells. These glands are the 7 chakras that our ancient ancestors spoke of. The word hormones come from the word harmony. Thus, when our hormones are balanced, the individual's vital energy can flow harmoniously through the blood. The root chakra in anatomy is known as the adrenal glands. Why the adrenals, you may ask? Well, the adrenal glands are very important to our entire endocrine system. In fact, it's the foundation, which is why it's the root chakra. The adrenal glands are 2 pyramid-shaped glands that sits over both kidneys that's connected to our survival instincts. In other words, your fight or flight response. These glands secrete hormones to cope with our stress levels and to get us prepared for a possible threat. These hormones are cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol is the stress hormone that's released by the adrenal glands once it's triggered by the HPA, which is the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. Cortisol is an anti-inflammatory hormone that keeps the body from inflaming during stress. Adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone that raises our blood pressure, speed up our respiratory, and sends energy to our arm and leg muscles to either prepare to fight or run for our lives. These hormones work for our benefit if used properly, and in most cases causes illnesses, diseases, and eventually death if used improperly. High levels of cortisol and adrenaline related to mental, psychological stress can cause high blood pressure, weight gain, diabetes, colon cancer, and much more. When the adrenal glands are signaled by the stress response, the HPA axis, the body shuts down due to the fact that it's an emergency, which means all the blood is forced to our arms, shoulders, and legs. Digestion stops, the immune system stops, the reproductive system stops. Tissue repair stops because the body knows it's not the time to worry about those things if it's in a life or death situation. See, the body cannot determine what's real or fake. All it knows is that you called and it's answering. So whatever you're stressed about, whether it be bills, a relationship, job, or you just angry about some drama somebody put you in, guess what? The body is going to react. This is why so many people are sick and having so many issues with their body. They're stressing themselves out and in return killing themselves. So like I said before many times in the past, stress is the number one killer. This is why it's so important to take control of your emotions. Take control of your root chakra. Learn the difference between a life and death situation or something that's physiological. Now, do you understand the importance of knowing thyself? Separated from the experience of our bodies, we are separated from our aliveness, from the experience of the natural world, and from our most basic inner truth. This division creates a dissociative state. Disconnected from our body, our actions become compulsive, no longer ruled by consciousness or rooted in feelings, but fueled by an unconscious urge to bridge the gap between mind and body at whatever cost. Disconnection from the body is a cultural epidemic. Of all the losses rupturing the human soul today, this alienation may be the most alarming because it separates us from the very roots of existence. With jobs that are degrading, routines that are automatic, and environments that annihilate our senses, we lose the joy that arises from the dynamic connections with the only living presence we are guaranteed to have for the whole of our lives, our body. Now, dissociation produces dangerously disconnected actions, senseless killings, where another's body is seen as lifeless and meaningless, a thing of one's own, pervade our newscasts, met with morbid fascination by anonymous viewers. Women annihilate or silicone their curves to meet the cultural norm of model figures plastered on billboards and social media and things like that, right? Men pound their flesh into submission to build a sense of power, often numbing their sensations and feelings. Many people fall into addictions, numbing their aliveness with food, drugs, or compulsive activities. Children are beaten, molested, and marshaled into obedience, driven from their own young bodies before they even learn to understand them, driven by disembodied adults who know not what they annihilate. We are taught to control the body by way of the mind, which is considered far superior. But the body has an intelligence whose mysteries the mind has yet to fathom. We read books on how to eat, how to make love, how to make money, how much sleep to get, and impose these practices on the body rather than listening from within. See, without the body as a unifying figure of existence, we become fragmented. We repress our aliveness and become machine-like, easily manipulated. We lose our testing ground for truth. Devaluation of the body is further penetrated by many religious attitudes. Some religions describe the body as the root of all evil, while others tell us that it is merely an illusion or, at best, simply insignificant. Medical practices treat the body mechanically, as a set of disconnected parts divorced from the spirit that dwells within. Standard training for psychotherapists completely ignores the role of the body in mental health. Conspicuous in their absence are requirements in anatomy, nutrition, allergies, movement, neuromuscular alignment, bioenergetic character structures, or even a simple massage. The use of therapeutic touch or physical contact in any form is often strictly forbidden. Universities educate our minds at the cost of our bodies, where we sit completely still for days, months, and years, training ourselves for sit-down jobs that continue to ignore the body's needs. Is it any wonder that we equally ignore our physical surroundings, damaging the body of the earth in order to perpetuate our dissociated survival? Perhaps the increasing problem of homelessness is a metaphor for our own cultural homelessness, for the body is indeed the home for the spirit. Our healthcare crisis extends far beyond the issue of insurance coverage. It is a crisis of connection with the biological reality of our existence. Degradation of our physical reality is a cultural epidemic for which there is no simple cure, no pill to take, no miraculous healing, nor can we necessarily ease the pain that comes when the numbness wears off and we awaken to the constriction and abuse we have previously accepted. Only by recovering the body can we begin to heal the world itself. For as mind is to body, so culture is to planet. Healing the split between mind and body is a necessary step in the healing of us all. It heals our home, our foundation, and the base upon which all else is built. All foundations rest upon the earth, the universal ground for all that we do. To connect with the body is to connect with the earth, to be grounded in the biological reality of existence. Our bodies are the home of our spirit. Situated at the base of the spine, the first chakra is the foundation for the entire chakra system. It is here we build the foundation for the temple of the body, the anchor for the rainbow bridge. Without a strong rooted foundation, little else can be accomplished. We must have soil firm enough to provide stability, yet yielding enough to be penetrated by roots. The anchoring of this temple digs deep into the earth for its Sanskrit name, and I'm going to butcher this. Muladhara means root support. The foundation contains the temple's energy by defining its scope, edges, and boundaries. It defines a place as a basic context of all that happens to us. It gives us a ground, a home, an anchor point for our experience. The foundation largely determines the shape of the structure above, determining what it can hold, how high it can build, what kind of stresses it can withstand. Thus, damage to this chakra is reflected in each and every chakra above. To build a strong foundation is to gain solidity. Solidity allows us to be firm and make boundaries. Solidity has consistency, repetition, accountability. Our bodies are the solid form of our existence. They have definable boundaries. To be solid is to face what is in front of us without flinching, to remain anchored in truth in the face of opposition, and to remain calm and secure. The underlying element of consciousness that forms this foundation is the instinct to survive. This instinct is archaic, fundamental, and unavoidable. It runs the baseline maintenance program of our physical existence. When satisfied, it retreats to a drone-like subroutine, allowing our consciousness to engage in other activities. When threatened, it dominates all other functions of consciousness. But when threatened, it dominates all other functions of consciousness. Where are your thoughts when you are suddenly being chased by somebody trying to rob you or kill you, spinning into a car accident, or facing a life-threatening illness? At these times, all available energy is routed to survival and little is available for anything else. When survival threats are frequent occurrences, then consciousness becomes fixated at this level. This keeps the body in a state of hyperstimulated readiness, flooded with stress hormones that promote the instinctual fight or flight response. One may feel restless, tense, and unable to sleep deeply, which may lead to frequent health problems over time. This is common in post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, a condition where stress reactions continue to occur long after the trauma is over. So one brother I know who lived in the hood, he described it as being like a war zone. You feel me? All the gun shooting and things of that nature. After 15 years in a safer environment, his muscles were still constantly tense and ready to run. He had insomnia and a serious jaw-clenching problem. He was fearful and jumpy and had trouble concentrating. He was a highly creative, intelligent, sensitive man whose body was breaking down in his early 30s because he could never relax. He could neither satisfy nor escape the demands of his first chakra, or his lower self. When the first chakra is damaged, pay attention. We are plagued with issues of survival, including health, money, housing, or job problems. We may find that a basic feeling of safety and security seems to elude us no matter what we do, even when there are no real threats to our survival. The survival instincts lie at the base of the collective unconscious, as inherent tendencies and preferences that we have developed in the human psyche or soul or spirit over the course of time. These instincts form the natural impulses of the body to defend itself and to connect with the environment. When these natural instincts are denied, we have a rupture between our waking consciousness and the very core of our being. We become disembodied and disconnected from our environment. By having some understanding on your root chakra or your adrenal glands, we can live harmoniously with our basic survival instincts without being unconsciously ruled by them. When survival is threatened, we feel afraid. Fear heightens our awareness and floods the body with natural chemicals such as adrenaline to energize it for action. Fear brings our attention into the here and now to address the threat, but focuses the attention outward and upward to the chakras of perception and mental activity. We become hypervigilant, restless, anxious. We can't settle, relax, or let down. It's as if we are jumping right out of our skin. When we live in an environment of danger or deprivation, we experience fear. If danger was a frequent presence growing up, then fear pervades our baseline program for survival. The sense of fear brings a feeling of safety. We feel safe only because we are hypervigilant and become even more uncomfortable when we try to relax. The nervous system and the adrenal glands remain overworked. In this state of hyperarousal, our triggers are more sensitive and more likely to react in extremes. Our foundation is literally shaky, and concentration may be difficult. As a result, the body is in a constant state of stress, which becomes normal. This may eventually create high blood pressure, heart trouble, stomach troubles, immune system depletion, weak adrenal glands, insomnia, or chronic fatigue. Ideally, fear wakes us up from the sleepy hypnagogic state of merging and trust, characteristic of the infant. When the threat cannot be overcome, we adapt to the fear and form ourselves around a basic contraction and shakenness. This is contrary to the healthy state of the first chakra, which is associated with safety, security, and solidity. To work through fear is to learn to relax and feel the subtle energies of the body, to have pleasure and expand our attention to a wider vista. To combat fear is to strengthen the first chakra. To live with fear is to weaken it. In order to fully ground into a solid foundation capable of supporting the rest of our activities, the demon of fear must be overcome. This means, first of all, that the fear must be understood. Where does it come from? How did it serve you? Understanding is not enough. However, because the fear response is still lodged in the body, the next step is to release and integrate the instinctual responses to the fear. Does it make you want to run and hide? Does it make you angry and activated or paralyzed and confused? Allowing the body to express these responses helps to complete the gestalt of the response to the original trauma. In its completion, the cycle of fear can be broken and a healthier pattern created. Finally, one must develop the strength and resources to effectively meet similar threats in the future. This may include such things as building self-esteem, learning martial arts, or improving communication skills. Although fear is the demon of the first chakra, it is also a sacred adversary, a presence that has much to teach us. Fear exists as an ally of self-preservation, teaching us of our own importance and the need to take care of ourselves. Only when we acknowledge this demon as an ally can it be truly mastered. Ernest Holmes, who founded the science of mind philosophy, describes both fear and faith as having similar qualities. Fear is a belief that something awful might happen, while faith is a belief that something good will happen. Although the results are different, the causes are the same. Both are beliefs that govern our behavior and influence the way we feel. If we can replace unreasonable fear with reasonable faith, then we have a natural antidote to our first chakra demon. The Sanskrit name for the base chakra is Muladhara, meaning root support. This chakra roots us into our bodies, the physical world, and the earth. A plant cannot survive without roots, and neither can the psyche of a human being. Our roots represent where we come from, the earth, womb, our ancestors and family, and our personal history. We cannot simultaneously deny our past and maintain our roots. In order to create a solid foundation, we have to sort out the roots of our childhood, for better or worse. These roots nourished and sustained us in our most formative stages. Where the ground was unhospitable, we need to transplant our psyche to more fertile soil. This involves paying attention to the environments we live in and the ground we create around us. The Muladhara chakra corresponds to the element earth, which is the ground for our roots. For those who don't know, human life is dependent upon a supply of energy. Our roots can be seen as the way our system plugs into the largest system of the planet, which is our source, the origin of the liberating current from which all things grow up. The elements needed for physical survival come from the earth in various forms. The food we eat, the things we touch and see, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the sounds we hear. We push against the earth in order to stand or move, and we rest upon the earth when we choose to be still. For most of us, our roots are unconscious influences on our behavior, linked to elements from our past. To bring root support to consciousness is to bring awareness to our roots, to uncover the past, to examine it, to delve deep into it. Everything that grows above branches out into infinity, growing more complex. Going down to our roots brings us into a singular simplicity and anchors us into the commonality of the collective unconscious. It brings us home to the earth.